Here we are, ready to talk The Flash.
Flash!
The episode was called Monster, and there were quite a few monsters, and yet none at all. So,
You know, it's funny. After I watched the episode, I felt the episode should have been like a Madea special, the Book of Revelations. Hallelujah! It was just revelation after revelation after revelation.
yeah,
And
starting with that monster not being a monster. It was a freaking hologram.
yeah, I know. It was. You call it monster. We gets it up. We see the Godzilla thing going on, and yeah, you know.
Did you think it was gonna be a hologram? Did you figure it out?
You know what? I didn't think about it. So
Okay.
it wasn't like I didn't figure it out. I just kind of thought, monster. I didn't come up with the hologram thing.
right.
But I was wondering, since all of the other metas are kind of like humans that are
Exactly.
something.
You're like, it can't be
like,
a-
why
it
in
can't
the
really
world,
be a monster.
You know, all of a sudden
Yeah.
it's a monster. The
Yeah.
only thing that's like, you know, well, there's a shark, you know.
Right, but it's still kinda
and
human.
Gorilla Grodd was
Yeah.
experimented on.
Yeah.
But, you know, you get what I'm saying. It's like, this seemed out of place. So I was suspicious. I didn't go hologram,
Yeah.
but I was like, seriously, like, what you talking about, Willis? It was
Right.
like, something's not right.
Like Lily Mitchelson, I knew it was a hologram. I mean, I didn't know it was exactly a hologram, but as soon as I heard monster, like you, I was like, there's no way it's gonna be a monster. It's gonna be fake. Somehow it's fake. And then once they started talking about electricity, like, and they mentioned like, oh, no one was hurt, and I was like, okay, well, obviously it is a vision.
Right.
It is not real.
Right.
So I think this episode, it was ambitious. But, and so you can see that in the theme, that all the themes kind of connected. But like, I don't know, maybe there was like, maybe they tried to stuff too much into it, you know?
But the thing that was weird about this episode, okay, so last week I talked about how it was kind of cool to see them do a throwback to kind of a season 1 episode, kind of like that Smallville thing where it's like, you know, villain of the week, villain of the week, villain of the week. Season 1, that was kind of like the thing, and then they got into the story with Wells, and then it became a cool, entirely different thing, season 2. It was refreshing for them to step back and do kind of a villain of the week thing. And then they came back and said, well, yeah, how about no villain?
Yeah, right? I'm ready to go back to Dr. Alchemy now. Let's take me back.
Come on.
But yeah, we find out that the monster is actually run by a 15-year-old kid.
Right.
And this kid is like scared and lonely and he's been bullied, right? And so I thought it was a sweet, that's not the right word. But you know, like, to call back to how that kind of behavior does make people want to lash out. It does make people feel isolated. And everyone goes through that to some degree, right?
Well, again, talking about how we were talking about real things, you know, bullying is it's always been huge, but now it's getting the attention that it deserves. And so they found a way to actually work it in there. And you didn't really see, now, I gotta admit, you didn't really see that coming till the end.
Yeah, exactly.
Even if it was a hologram, who's doing it?
We could have, if we had seen like a scene with that kid like in school or something,
then it might have put two
it would have been
together.
interesting, yeah.
Right.
But you know.
Since you didn't, and then that was the topic point. So again, kudos to the CW and then in the Flash show. Again, taking something and bringing some awareness to it by putting it out there in this, you know, fantasy sci-fi sort of way. You know, it was really good. It was really good.
And I think it mostly served to get us a better look at Julian Albert. Right? So now we're starting to learn a little bit of his backstory.
Yeah.
And instead of just being butting heads with Barry, right? But to be fair, like, yeah, he's a jerk to Barry, but Barry is actually not very good at his job. Like, Barry spends more time being the Flash than he does being a CSI.
That's true.
So, like, it's understandable, but at the same time, Barry's our hero. So we're like, what are you doing, dude?
That's a very good book. Have you thought about that, though? Because in season 1, he was a great CSI
Yeah, he was a great, I love seeing him do a
Season 2
CSI.
is a CSI guy.
But
What is it now?
I honestly think it's just that they haven't spent much time. Like season 2, he was a good CSI, but we didn't see him doing any CSI work. So like now they're actually making it part of the story, which is interesting. Because of course it has to slip at some point. Because even if he moves super fast, it still takes the same amount of time
to process the thing.
Or to fight the villain or whatever.
You
know?
can go get whatever and bring it back to the lab, but the lab process
it's still going to take 3 hours or whatever.
Exactly.
You can't speed that up. So I like that they're bringing that in, and I like that they have an antagonist in the real world for that. I just hope that we get to see more of Barry doing his job, of Iris doing her job. Like, I feel like of Joe doing his job. Because they can all connect back to the meta. There's definitely ways to show these 3 people, right? Getting out on the streets, hitting the streets, getting information, tracking
the payment, beat
exactly.
Pop, doing that
exactly. Beat Pop or Ace Reporter or Forensic Science.
Give me some chips. Give me some Poncherello out there.
Because I love the sci-fi and I love the Flash. I always love the Flash, but I'm here for the characters, you know, and I want to see those characters develop outside of just cool CGI.
Right. Well, you know, not to get ahead, but it was interesting watching with Julian. He had this moment where he doesn't like the Flash.
Yeah. Oh, you're not getting ahead. That's what I should be talking about.
He doesn't like the Flash, and he doesn't like Barry.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird because
it's just like, oh, you don't like both of them.
Both of them, which is interesting because normally when you have a hero who has, you know, of course, the alternate identity, or the alter ego, normally it's one you like, one you don't.
Exactly.
You know,
but
Lois.
It's interesting because he doesn't like both for the same reason.
He doesn't for the same reason,
right. They're not reaching their potential.
Exactly. That was so odd because normally there's one side you like.
Yeah.
You know, Lois thinks, you know, Clark, you know, it's before she knows, you know, Smallville, you know, little cow pasture dude, but
because
Superman,
he doesn't take risks like
exactly,
Superman
you know?
does. Yeah, exactly.
But to hate them both for the same reason. Very unique touch.
Yeah,
I like
it was, and it was great to see him finally open up to Barry.
In Julia's eyes, he's got to be a special kind of loser to hate them both on so many levels.
And Tom Felton really, I think he gave the best performance this episode.
Yeah.
Like he's a great actor, but we haven't seen him do that much yet.
Yeah.
But this episode, finally, we get to see like why he's here, and we had some seeds for later, which we will bring up.
Okay.
But the other big story of the episode was Caitlin, Killer Cross.
Another revelation. Revelation number 2 reveals to her mom. First of all, we find out who her mom is, which was really, really cool. And I can't remember the actress' name, but she's on that show. I have it here. Wait, actress Susan Walters. She's from Vampire Diaries. The actress that played Caitlin's mom. Yeah. And so here she
She plays everyone's mom.
Everywhere. Yeah.
She's on Teen Wolf too. But all the supernatural moms.
Right. I mean, Caitlin got to the point where obviously there's some mess in the past.
Yeah.
But she decided, you know what, I gotta get past it. I'm gonna go talk to mom, tell her what's up, and see if mom can help me out. Boom, revelation number 2 of the show. She reveals herself to mom.
Right.
And this weird power she's got going on.
And the interesting thing is that her powers they seem to be, in this episode at least, affecting her mood, or her mood affects her powers.
I think I think anger management could maybe like chill Killer Frost, no pun intended.
Yeah, because before this episode, it seemed like she could control them just fine. And then she just used them to break the glass, and then it's like it affected her physically. But now it's like when she feels unstable, or when she feels trapped, or when she feels mad, they come out, and they come out like evilly, not like average powers.
Yeah. Dr. Banner gets mad, he turns into a green hulking beast. Caitlin gets mad, she'll freeze the heck out of everything. So it's ice baby when she gets pissed.
Yeah. So I was a little sad because I thought the doctor I was like, well, he's hot, first of all. That guy's hot. And he's been super nice. And then suddenly he turned around and he was like, I'm going to kidnap you and experiment on you. Which then made the mom be like, oh, I'm sorry, honey. I won't tell anyone that this man tried to kidnap you. So forgive me. And it was a little bit rushed, I think.
But I love the way, though, she just again, another pun. She just chilled about just touching him.
Yep.
You want to touch me? Let me touch you.
Right.
You know? And I think a lot of women wish they had that power for butt-head people.
That's true.
That get a little closer.
I would like to be able to do that.
And don't know your personal space, and they're not recognizing that you ain't feeling them that way, and you just touch them and they're down. She could do that.
But then at the end, too, like, what do you think it meant at the end when her mom left her that message saying, be careful, don't use your powers, because when you do, it's irreversible, right? Well, and then she freaking froze that computer.
Again, I think this power is affecting her temperament.
Right.
I really do. And here was this hearing what was considered maybe a little bit of bad news. She couldn't control herself. Just not hearing what she wanted to hear and getting bad news made her just go,
yeah, I think it was supposed to be sort of like just a reaction. Just a reaction.
Yeah.
Because then she was surprised by it. But
all right, so third revelation?
Yes,
third revelation.
Tell me what it was.
The revelation. What the heck is up with Dr. Wells? No, I can't even. Can we call him Dr. Wells?
He's not a doctor. He's not a freaking doctor.
You know,
H.R. Wells.
Wells is just a.
We should have realized he was a novelist the whole time.
Like H.G. Wells. Exactly. You know.
Exactly. H.R. Wells, H.G. Wells.
H.R. Wells. He's the hype man.
Yeah.
You know? Exactly. He's the guy that goes out before Flavor Flav, pumps up the crowd. I got some beats. He's the real act. That's who he is. He's got other people doing his bidding.
Exactly.
And he's just out front going, yo, yo, yo. Okay, check him out. That's what he does.
And hopefully he will be able to fit into that role from now on, instead of just kind of spouting nonsense and inspiring people in that way.
But you know what I thought was cool, though? It was kind of a little misdirect that I actually appreciated in the episode. Because at first I thought that he was maybe a bad guy. You know, the secret, you know, they don't suspect anything, And when you saw him doing that little thing, you're like, oh, so now we know something's up.
Yeah.
Okay, we know he's not who he says he is, and like, what meta thing is he gonna bust out being? But it wasn't that. It was like he's trying to do a book.
Right.
You know?
HR. He was fun. I thought maybe it was a little bit too much of that plot because we could have done it in fewer scenes and then devoted more to the monster, or devoted more to Julian, etc.
Yeah.
But it was a fun plot, and I just have to say, I see Alex John in here trying to talk bad about Barry and Iris. I see you, Alex, and Barry and Iris is amazing, and Barry's never gonna stop loving her. Sorry. I just wanted to say.
Okay, but
I'm sorry. I still love you though, whoever you are.
The one, I tell you what I dig about HR now.
Tell me.
Okay, the way they say goodbye.
Oh my God.
You got to do it with me. It's
okay.
Like, until next communion.
Until next communion.
Next communion.
And then also it was like scrumptious morning or sumptuous morning for his hello.
That's how we should sign off every episode. Until next communion. That was the heavy crack.
And also, his puns and like the movie titles. Like Gladiator was Sweaty Men. Wasn't it Gladiator that Sweaty Men? And then there was Murder on the Titanic by Alfred Hitchcock. It was like, there's a murder, but we're all drowning. We're all drowning. It doesn't matter.
You know? Those are great
that
moments,
was funny.
Though.
Like those little moments like that, I think are going to make him a great character in future episodes.
Yeah, I agree.
The setup for him, I didn't love it as much, but I like who he is. I like what he's going to bring to the table.
All right, so my question for you, and I think this is the thing that really kind of how it left us hanging, is Caitlin. Okay, the fact that we know she's Killer Frost. Well, no, she's Frost.
Right.
But will she be Killer Frost?
Will she be Killer? No.
You know?
No, she's not gonna be Killer. Well, actually, what do you guys think? Do you think that Caitlin will turn evil for good?
Wait, and here's my other question, because the way they teased the next episode with Wally. Now, you talked about that last week, and I'm like, they heard you.
They know what I'm talking about.
The CW writers, producers, and executive, right there. Tatiana, hire her, because she's like writing the stories for you, right here at the stream.tv.
There you go.
Seriously.
But yeah, Wally next week looks. I think that next week looks not. It's not next week. Vote, guys. Vote.
True.
But it's the week after next week.
But it's really weird. It's like, again, taking the same characters, putting a spin on them. Is Wally going to be not Kid Flash, but Evil Flash?
Killer Flash.
Right. Exactly. And is Caitlin not going to be, like Killer Frost, maybe just Thriller Frost? I don't know.
Thriller Frost, Lord.
I don't know.
But yeah, I think that the Wally storyline next week is going to show how much Alchemy can control the people, but I also think that it will go along with the same theme, like with the way that Magenta was able to back away from her powers or back away from her meta-ness because Barry basically gave her a really great pep talk. I think that's going to happen with Wally next week, or next episode. Like Iris and Joe are going to, be like, calm down, Wally, you're going to be okay.
Talks work a lot all the time, but when you are dangling that carrot in front, you're tempted by the fruit, you hold up that apple and you want to take a bite.
Right.
So again, is that the condition Wally's in? It would be great to see. I can't wait to find out. So.
Final bit is Julian is obviously Alchemy IMO and does not know that he is Alchemy.
Okay.
Okay, that's my theory is, and you guys can tell me what your guys' theory is, that Julian suffers from the same thing as Magenta did, which is DID, dissociative identity disorder. So he does not know that he is Alchemy. And whether that means that, whether he came from a different timeline or from a different Earth, because I didn't put this in there, but Alchemy was in episode 22 of season 2.
Right.
When the Earth 2 metas were all shown, you saw Alchemy's outfit. So maybe Julian's from Earth 2, or maybe there just was an Alchemy on Earth 2. But either way, Julian does not know he's Dr. Alchemy, so he has like a opposing, right? Julian's here telling him, these metas are not living up to their potential, and that's why I hate them. And then Alchemy's over here awakening metas to live up to their potential.
It was funny because when you first threw out that theory to me, I stopped and said, well, wait a minute. If Julian's upset because metas aren't living up to their potential, why would he, if he's Alchemy, go around and help them fulfill the potential? But if it's that sleeper cell, remember, like Boomer, season 1, Battlestar Galactica, didn't know that she was a Cylon, and all of a sudden, boom, it triggered. That's what it's kind of like. That's what you're saying. When you said that, I went, I get it. All right, well, that's a lot to think about. And you know what? And obviously, just like us, you love the show. You got memes going on. So we thought it'd be really cool. You guys are always like sending us cool stuff. So check out some of the memes that you sent us for Flash. They're really funny. People are absolutely creatively crazy, goofy people. Love you.